everyone, and welcome back to Season 3, Episode 1 of Maggie's Magical Morsels. I'm so excited to be back for another season. Unfortunately, it will be the last season, but I'm super excited. We're starting this one off with a bang, with a recipe from one of my favorite TV shows, Gilmore Girls. I've been watching Gilmore Girls since 7th grade, so I watch it every single year around this time. I'm watching it right now, but I'm super excited. While I'm watching, there's one food that I think they eat a ton, and that is Pop-Tarts. So I will be making homemade Pop-Tarts. I know when you think Gilmore Girls, you think coffee, but I made a latte last season, so I want to change things up. The recipe is right here. It's from Tasty Co. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
First off, here are all the ingredients you're going to need for the recipe. First thing you're going to do is preheat the oven to 375 degrees, and then on a cookie sheet, just put some parchment paper. Then you're going to take one sheet of your puff pastry and cut it into 6 sections. Clearly mine won't even, but try your best. Next you'll crack an egg into a bowl and then add about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of milk. Whisk everything together to create your egg wash. This is what it should look like when you're done. Then take one of the pieces of puff pastry and put the egg wash on the edges. For the filling, I mixed together a tablespoon of each of the jellies that I wanted. This was more than enough for 3 of the Pop-Tarts. Putting about a spoonful of the jelly in the center, and then taking another piece of the pastry and pressing it down on top of the other one. Then I'm closing up the gaps with the fork, and then I'm putting some holes into the center of it just to make sure it doesn't explode. At this point, this is what they should look like. The next step is going to be to put them in the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. I put them in for only 20, but it depends on the oven. To some fun facts, the first episode of Gilmore Girls aired October 5th, 2000, and there were 7 seasons. You can watch all 7 seasons on Netflix right now. One of the biggest things from the show was if you were Team Jess, Team Logan, or Team Dean, and I am by far Team Jess. Back to the recipe for the icing, you're going to add 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla into a bowl. Then, depending on what color you want for the icing, add as much food coloring as you want. I wanted purple, so I did red and blue. Then mix it all together in the bowl, and this is what it should look like when you're done. Next, take your Pop-Tarts out of the oven and pour the icing on. When they're a little bit cooled, you don't want them to be too hot, otherwise the icing will melt all over. This is what it should look like when you're done.
Okay, so I'm getting ready to try it. First things first, I did want to note the icing was really thin. That I kind of knew going in because I want it to be a little bit more thin, but it's definitely hasn't dried yet, and I kind of let it sit for like a half hour probably. But I'm gonna try it. Let's see how it is. I hope it tastes good. So unfortunately, I do think the jelly all went out of it. Let me see if I can show you. Do you see that? There is like no jelly in there. It does have the flavor, which is honestly all that matters. I mean, if you think about it with Pop-Tarts, like, it's not like a ton of jelly or filling or whatever, but I think it's really good. Like I said, it was a very simple recipe. It was just a little time consuming, just like the prep and everything like that and the cooking, but honestly, I would try it again. I mean, I still have like a whole other thing of puff pastry in there, but I would try it again. It tasted really good, and yeah. So thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you try the recipe on your own. Watch it with a Gilmore Girls marathon. What better thing to do? Be sure to follow at Huntley Voice on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And subscribe to The Voice's YouTube. Anyways, have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.